think we're ready to get started here. 4 o'clock on the dot. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Katie O'Hara. I'm a Public Information Officer with Southwest Area Team 1. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for our press briefing. We have a couple of folks lined up to speak and talk a little bit about the operations this afternoon and what's been going on today. It's August 3rd on the Alexander Mountain Fire, and I'll first introduce our Incident Commander, Carl Schwope, followed by Jason Coyle, our Operations Section Chief. After that, Jason Sieg, who is our Forest Service Agency Administrator and Acting Forest Supervisor for the Arapahoe-Roosevelt National Forest. And then after that, I'll welcome up Under Sheriff Shellhammer to give an update from the Sheriff's Office. So with that, Incident Commander Carl Schwope.
All right, afternoon, Carl Schwope, Incident Commander. Going to report acres for today is 9,668 acres. We're also going to report 32% containment, 508 personnel, and I'll also report that we've had no additional structures damaged. So those numbers show a lot of success, and the fire crews have had tremendous success. On the east side of the fire, you've seen some of that success with the changing of the evacuation status on some of these side of the fire. Up and around Cedar Park subdivision, we've seen a lot of tremendous success. There's still no fire across Highway 34. Those are all successes. And you've also seen that in the reduced acre size. Normally we're seeing daily acreage growth in the thousands of acres, and since yesterday at this time, that's only in the hundreds of acres. Does that mean we're out of the woods yet? No. Firefighters still have some challenging country to work in. Next couple of days, as the fire crews are putting in some challenging line, some challenging burnout ahead, that'll determine when we're out of the woods. So Operations Coyle will go over some of those challenges in that burnout operation. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. Jason Coyle, Operations Section Chief for Team 1. I'm going to talk around the fire, spend about 75% on the critical corner that Carl was just referring to. So along the Highway 34 corridor from the Midway Fire Station, Loveland Fire Station number 9 on the west, all the way back to where the fire's edge leaves it on the east, everything in there is looking really good. The crews are continuing to move around the structures in there, looking for any additional heat, and they're finding a little bit, less and less every day. And nothing that was threatening any of the structures during the day today, even in this heat. As you go up the north side of the fire, up the canal, then up the hand line on the north, as you go up the east side of the fire, north, and then on the hand line, and then up to the northeast corner of the fire, all that line is holding. Everything above Masonville is holding, the structures that are on Green Ridge. And then, I talked a couple days ago about the Cameron Peak fire and about making sure that the fire didn't move through it. Well, we are really going to make sure about it, because one of the hotshot crews has gone in there and worked partway from the east side on the top towards Jug Gulch, and they're going to work the rest of the way along the edge of that fire, hopefully get that tied in today, so they'll actually have walked all of that fire's edge, just to ensure that nothing moves further north. On the west side of the fire, up in the northwest corner, the same thing's happening with another hotshot crew. They're starting on that northwest corner and they're moving to the east towards Jug Gulch. They probably won't get that tied in today, but they're getting a lot of work done, and that's just because Storm Mountain subdivision is not very far away, and we want to make sure that that fire doesn't have an avenue to move between the old Cameron Peak scar and where the edge of the Alexander Mountain fire is right now, and move off to the west. Going south into what is Cedar Park right now, I said yesterday that we're going to be playing dot to dot, and that's basically what's been going on today, and there's a lot of success in there, making sure that they get the different pieces that they protected a home, get all those pieces tied together so it basically can't go around one home and hit another one. It looks easy on the map, but it's a maze, and a lot of resources in there, and they've been doing excellent work today. So now we're down to the southwest corner of the fire. So if you have that Midway Fire Station, and then you go west to Storm Mountain Road that goes up into the subdivisions off of Highway 43, I think at that point, or 34. That area right there, that piece of ground is, it's the gates to Thermopylae. If we lose that, we lose everything. And right now, the crews have, one of the hotshot crews, Del Rosa, has placed a hand line in from that fuel break that I told you that was below Snowcap Road to the north, and they're almost all the way down to 34. They get done in, that maybe that's the Spartans then lining up in the gates of Thermopylae. And then if we burn it out and get that done, then that's the rest of the armies coming in to join them. So right now we're trying to plug that hole. We get that hole plugged, get things tied in up there in the Cedar Park, and we will prevent the westward movement of that fire. And between today and tomorrow, that's what we hope to accomplish. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Jason Sieg, S-I-E-G, Acting Forest Supervisor for the Arapahoe and Roosevelt National Forests and Pawnee National Grassland. All of us standing up here, we support the strategy and operational plan currently being implemented by the management team. Carl and Jason spoke for a minute about burning operations, that those could be coming. I want to talk about that for a minute. Fire is a tool, and it can have benefits. In this case, on this incident, on that southwest corner, a planned burning operation could be used to secure that crucial section of the fire. It's worth noting that earlier in the week, we actually used burning operations to secure some of the first areas of the fire on that southeast corner, and we had great success there. I also want to extend an appreciation for all the hard work that's been put in across the fire and in these key areas by the fire resources to put us in this great position to have that opportunity for some planned ignitions if the weather and other opportunities align. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Joe Shellhammer, Under Sheriff, Larimer County Sheriff's Office. For this incident, my main role is management of evacuations, law branch, so the roadblocks, security and safety within the fire perimeter and around the fire perimeter, and then the damage assessment teams. So we're going to go into a few things. Things are going well, so really going to ramp up the conversations about reducing the evacuation footprint. So we're going to have some tonight, and then we'll have some more tomorrow morning, and then if things stay on the track that they're staying on, we're probably going to reduce that footprint tomorrow afternoon at some time. So that's good news. So the disaster assessment teams got into most of the areas. There's one road or two roads that they did not finish. So there's no new structures damaged from that first report, but that number will go up a little bit because they're going to go back in tomorrow morning and finish that up. So we get that done tomorrow morning. The number's going to go up a little bit, but they're not new ones. They're just ones they didn't get to because of fire behavior when they were in there last time. So I want to make sure that's super clear. So when you see that number go up, it's not because of new fire, new damage. It's just they didn't get in there. So we make sure that's clear. For the neighborhoods that are off of Storm Mountain, Storm Mountain Road, Cedar Park and Storm Mountain. Getting back in there is going to be a little bit different and a little bit more difficult. So we're going to set up a credentialing system to get in there. We don't want to have other people going in there besides the residents. So we want to make sure that credentials are going to be set up and start looking for that information moving forward. It'll be put out by the Joint Information Center so we can make sure that people have time to get up there and deal with the things they have to deal with, the loss they have to deal with, and have some time to work through that. So look for that to come out in the next couple days. That doesn't mean once you get them that the door's going to be open up there, but we're getting closer. So credentialing, and then as we move through the week, then getting people back in there. I do have a million thank yous, but there's a few that I got to just call out. These hotshot crews, these all-star teams are just doing amazing work. Del Rosa, Big Bear, Geronimo, and Globe. And if you could just imagine at 97 degrees, digging a trench for 5, 6, 7 miles, and then turning around and walking back through that with fire around you. They're just incredible. The work that I'm watching these young men and women doing are just amazing, and I'm just proud to be around them, and them the work that they're doing, we can't say thank you enough. Another big thank you to the engine companies, the modules, everyone that's up there. They are in sync. They are working hard. They're getting the job done. I've been in law enforcement for 32 years, been dealing with disasters for 32 years, and this team is in sync. The men and women here are just incredible work ethic, and I'm humbled to be around them. Two last thank yous, the community. At night when we're in camp and we're talking to people, when the firefighters go to buy a soda over at the gas station or somewhere, the community is just so grateful and appreciative, and that is motivating this whole camp to really put this thing to bed and make this disaster go away. And I just want to say thank you to the community. It's again humbling and super motivating. So keep that up, and thank you very much. And then the last thank you I got is to this leadership team, just an amazing group of men and women, really dialed in and getting things right. And each day, miracle things are happening each day because of this leadership behind me. And thank you very much, and thank you for messaging that.
Okay, thanks. So up next, we'll just do a quick Q&A. We'll probably give it about 15 minutes or so. So I will help facilitate answering questions and kind of point you guys in the right direction. So we'll go ahead and get started.
So we said that we're at 32% containment, right?
Yes.
And the last report was 5.
5.
So I guess my main question is, what do you think was the main factor in getting that much containment? We haven't seen that a lot in all of these fires that we've been covering, and that's huge. So
Great. So the question, I'll have Carl take that question, but the question was, what do you think contributed to our increase in containment?
Yeah, so a number of things. So also reported 509 personnel. We're starting to getting more fire personnel every day. And containment doesn't happen like throughout the day. Containment happens in large increments. First they have to put line in, then they have to mop it up, secure it, hold it, all those things. And then after a couple of days of doing that, then they'll feel secure and say, hey, we feel like this portion of the line is contained, and then we'll turn those numbers in. And containment is simple. We know how many miles of fire perimeter there is. We know how much containment they turn in every day, and it's just a percentage after that. So that's some of what's contributing to that. But it's just hard work, and it takes a little bit of time, several days, to get a section of line contained. And that's just what's being reported now. So as we move through each day, we may not show, containment movement each day, but it doesn't mean progress isn't happening each day.
Is that new containment kind of continuing up toward Masonville from where it was down by Sylvandale, or is it scattered in other places?
No, the bulk of the containment's going to be where the fire edge reaches the 34 road, and then up the 34 road to the west, and then all the east side. That's where the bulk of the containment is. We're also going to show containment in areas around Cedar Park where they feel like they have the fire out and secured in those areas. So mostly in the southeast corner and east side, and then some up in Cedar Park.
Is like you were yesterday, a concern with Masonville and keeping it from coming down? Is that area seeming fairly secure at this point?
Yes, that's where most of the containment's going to be shown, on the east side in that Masonville area.
As for structures, I know that we were saying that there were no more structures that were damaged, but what was the original count of that, and what are we looking at?
Great. I'll go for it, sir.
So the original count, total 49, 25 homes destroyed, 4 additional homes damaged, and 20 other outbuildings destroyed.
Yesterday you said that any injuries were only to firefighters and they were minor. Have there been any more injuries or anything serious at this point?
Yeah, all the injuries that we've had are really minor. No injuries reported today.
What kind of air support do you have you had today?
So I think, as we talked about a couple days ago, it varies throughout the day. There was some emerging incidents up in Wyoming that took the scoopers for a while. But right now, at last count, we had 2 heavy helicopters and 2 of the scoopers working. And the great thing about the scoopers, especially on that 34 part, is that they deliver water with violence. They come in low and they put it out as a slug, and they have a thermal camera on the front, an infrared camera. So instead of creating a line that the fire is going to move towards, they can actually help us in those flashy fuels put that fire out. Now, when you're doing that, and you have crews on slopes like this, you have to be cautious. And it looks like there's maybe some state assets working really hard to be able to get those on the fire tomorrow that will help us additionally.
You mentioned some of those, some of the air support was taken over to Wyoming. That battle for resources, is that still ongoing? Is that still a concern for you guys at all?
The battle for air resources will go on until the snow flies, because when there's an emerging incident, it's advantageous to all of us to keep that incident small. So while we incorporate air resources into our plans, we don't plan on air resources, because like this fire was threatening homes immediately. They got shipped off. It just happens. It happens every day. And so we're glad when it doesn't, but we don't plan for it not happening, if that makes sense.
Is there any update on the investigation into the cause of this fire?
Investigative team went in early this morning, and they got up to what they believe is around the original site, but no determination or no final conclusion has happened. It's a hard hike to get in there, but they did get there, and that forensic work has started this morning.
Could you tell us a little bit more about where that site is? Is it like up on the mountain, Alexander Mountain?
It's up on the mountain, Alexander, right underneath where that first column came out.
Is there any indication that it was caused by humans or intentionally caused? Or
I haven't been debriefed by that team yet, so I don't want to speculate on that.
And you said, forensic investigators.
And the Forest Service investigators all went as a team. So Sheriff's Office employees and Forest Service investigators all went together up there to really take a hard look at that and come out with the right conclusion.
I don't know if you guys have numbers in any way, but just for perspective, can you say how many homes have been saved up in that Cedar Park area, or how many total exist up there?
I don't have the total exist, but a high majority of them are still undamaged and well and okay, and people's vehicles are I would say, I don't want to put a percentage on there, but more than 90%.
Even in areas where the fire has moved through and there were crews
The
doing
crews,
spot protection.
the crews did amazing jobs. The houses that I have no idea how they got saved, those crews saved them. And you look all around it, and it looks like the surface of the moon. And those crews were able to save those houses and those structures. I'm just amazed. When I was up there just a little while ago, and how they saved them, I don't know, but they did amazing work.
Any other questions?
I think we went over this, but in terms of the direction that the fire is going, are any other neighborhoods at risk, like for people that might be worried about their homes, maybe ease their concerns, or they should be concerned?
So direction of fire growth and
Impacts.
So I'm going to say the potential direction of fire growth, because today there's been hardly any fire growth. But the western side of the fire is still the side that has the most open line, so that would be the side with the most potential for growth. And the only thing that is imminently threatened would be Cedar Park. And then, Storm Mountain is beyond that. But I have a high degree of confidence that the fire will not move any further west in the Cedar Park area.
On that, is there any concerns about potential weather changes tomorrow that could potentially impact that?
I think we talked about it yesterday, but outflow winds from thunderstorms are always the wild card. And that's why, even though there's such great progress being made, until they get that fire to their line, so there's no green fuel between it, they can get a head of steam up, and they get that line secured, and it gets tested by some wind, then we'll feel really confident about it. But yeah, I mean, thunderstorms are building tomorrow, so there's certainly a chance for outflow winds, and we don't know which direction those are going to come from. Some can be favorable, some can be catastrophic.
Okay. Any other questions? Awesome. We'll appreciate it, guys. We'll same time tomorrow for folks that are still interested, and we'll start working on adding some additional presenters into this. We've had some interest to talk to our incident meteorologist who's working specifically on weather on the fire, as well as our fire behavior analyst. So we'll start working some of those folks into the rotation as well. So appreciate you guys.